Martha.
Hi, Martha.
Well, it's so nice to see so many people here today on this strange weather day. But it just keeps changing, and that's what life's all about, is change. So we have some changes for you today.
Okay, good.
We remembered Elvis today, Martha.
I want to thank you, Matt. Most people here today don't even know how much I like Elvis. He is so cool, and I just love his songs. He has great energy, you know. He really sang from his heart, and that's what we're talking about today, is coming from your heart. So I hope that you have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Martha.
And goodbye. I'll see you in a little bit when we all are through.
Martha,
Yes?
Marilyn said about an hour.
Well, if you check in about an hour, it's hard to predict how long this is going to go, so we hope it's not much longer than an hour.
Okay, well, when an hour goes by, I'll have them check with you, see if she's okay.
Alrighty, thanks for that. Toodaloo.
Toodaloo, Martha.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I am John,
Hi, John.
and we have so many new people here today. I would like to meet you all, so if you would like to go around the room and introduce yourself. Who is on my right?
Doug.
Doug, welcome, and glad you're here today.
Kathy.
Kathy, welcome.
Bob.
Bob, thank you for coming.
Mac,
Mac, thank you for all your help in getting ready.
I'm pleased to do it, John.
Trina.
Trina, I'm glad you're here, Trina.
Liz.
Liz, welcome.
Thank you.
Jimmy.
Jimmy, thank you for coming.
Darcy.
Darcy, you're an old friend.
Yeah.
She comes a lot. That's wonderful, Darcy. Keep coming back.
Jeannie.
Jeannie, so glad to meet you, Jeannie.
Thank you.
Oh, I know you. You come to healing.
You've helped me, yes.
Yes, we're old friends. I didn't realize. Oh,
Yeah.
well, I'm glad you're here today.
Thank you.
And Lisa.
Lisa, I think I know you pretty well. Okay, so I'm glad everyone's here, and today is a big invitation to a new life that maybe you would be interested in hoping to hear more information about. I would like to start with some comments and phrases that you've heard before. God is love, and if you are in love, you abide in God. And the other one is perfect love casts out all fear. And those are going to be the issues or the topic relating to what's going on with the talks you're going to hear today. Sometimes people come in with their questions, and we want you to save your questions for next time so we can answer them at that point. But today I'm not sure there's time for questions. I don't want to disappoint anybody. But we do want you to know that this is a very important time in history. You see, this is March 17th, 2012, and there is a big important event occurring exactly 9 months from March 21st. You know what 9 months means. If you have been a wife or mother, that's the time of birthing and pregnancy time, and you have come into being aware that in the next 9 months you have the opportunity to birth your new life, the life that we came to earth to experience. And you all are part of this big picture that is going on and has been going on for thousands of years. And yes, it is all through God's grace that we are being able to return to the oneness of God. Amazing Grace is an amazing song and has so many levels of importance for people, not just the beautiful melody and the words that you sing in church, but there are many parts to that song that are so important, and today we might even help to explain a little bit more about that. So welcome to your chance and choice to move into a higher consciousness of which you have only dreamed and has been foretold for eons through many, many ascended masters. And we'll go into more of that with Saint Germaine. Right now I wanted to share with you some information because so many people are still in the dark. The people in this room obviously are here because you have come into a searching and a eagerness to search out more and more truth. And I am so pleased to be able to have you with me today. And hopefully you will hear some new understandings that might have been held back from you or hidden in some obscure way that might, as it said in the song, open your eyes so you can see what maybe you did not see before. So you see, the more information you have, the less fear there is. That's perfect love casts out all fear, and today we hope to add more love to your life so there's less fear and you are able to go through the next few months birthing and replacing the old with the new into that newer life that you are so wanting from your hearts. I want you to understand this information might not be familiar to you, but it is necessary to understand where you've been and to shed the light on it so you might see it from a new understanding today. 1700 years ago, there was a church that created creeds and doctrine that wanted to manipulate and control the masses. And so through religion, they created all kinds of rituals and ceremonies and creeds and doctrines to help people form their thinking where they wanted it to be. And it was so they could have people not finding the truth. It was a diversion, so to speak, from keeping people from being open-minded to other sources of information. It was very much considered a heresy if you were to search outside of the canon of the church. In fact, if you were to say anything that was not of the church, you were considered a heretic. And 700 years later, even the Pope proclaimed that torture of heretics was permissible. So you see, not only were you told not to think out of the box, but physical punishment was also added to the structure of keeping you inside a doctrine that was not necessarily truthful. It had partial truths, but enough to keep you from getting into the light of God. So as time progressed into the Inquisitions, people were actually burned at the stake for reading or writing anything that did not pertain to the church doctrine and the canons that were in place at that time. Maybe some of you felt like you were burned at the stake because of your heretic reading or writing or speaking. In fact, Marilyn was burned at the stake at one time, thought she was Joan of Arc because she didn't know other people had gone through that experience too. So as she's gone through her lifetimes, she's experienced those experiences that we're talking about today. So as time has evolved, culture has changed, and the limitations set upon thinking just evolved to more which was acceptable in the cultures of today. So therefore it was not condoned by about the 13th century to study astrology. And in not studying astrology, isn't that sad that they would declare that was not appropriate and definitely off bounds, because God created the planets and God created the stars. And to not study them is almost like denying that God is the creator of all things. But they did not want people finding out about their soul purposes and their lessons in life. And so it was definitely ruled out of being acceptable. And today when you celebrate birthdays, that's what birthdays are really about, is to re-celebrate what your life and soul growth for this particular reincarnation is about, and to reaffirm your lessons for the coming year. So if you have not proceeded to follow that investigation, you might choose to. You have a choice today because that is much more acceptable than it would have been in past times. Another thing that was not considered acceptable was analyzing your handwriting. Now, this is a wonderful tool for people understanding their talents and personalities. And it can be extremely helpful for identifying and waking yourself out of your denials of more about who you are as a person. And handwriting can be a very beneficial tool. It is sad the way they condemned the gypsies. Your poems have lines and messages that the gypsies would read for people. And it was ridiculed and made fun of, and they were basically destroyed as a culture because those truths were not to be told to the person that they might find out more about who they were as a person and follow some of the information that actually lead them away from the church. So there was a very scary part of whatever they could limit in thinking, they proceeded to do. Not only has that extended from the church limiting your thinking for searching for the truth, but the government, as far back as 1945, has been denying UFOs and extraterrestrial visits that have actually been occurring on this planet for thousands of years. How many remember Ezekiel saw the wheel? What do you think the wheel was? So their denial of all of this is actually worked against people having the freedom or feeling they had the freedom to pursue and accept and acknowledge that those things actually exist and are part of your heritage. There are more things that have gone on in the medical field to actually keep you from seeing who you truly are and relying on God for your health and happiness. And when you are in balances, which we are going to be talking more about this afternoon, your health will be restored. And that is really another whole time to get together. But it is so important to know that today is a day we can open the lid of Pandora's box and let all those misbeliefs, false information, lack of truth, just leave so that you can actually let the sunlight come into the darkness today, be dispelled, and see it from a different point of view without the limitations. Because as you understand, life and this life you have on this earth is actually about the opportunity to always choose good over evil. And as you're choosing these opportunities that you have today, you are always adding more light to your life. You add more God to your life, and the darkness is dispelled. And you are balancing your karma or possibly consequences to something that happened that you were not very proud of possibly, but might have been part of the culture of those days of how people handled justice. Was, as I said, burning at the stake wouldn't be allowed today, but maybe in a past life that happened, that you were the one that lit the fire or you were the one that was burnt, and those karmic energies need to be balanced. If they're in this lifetime or whatever part of your soul they exist, that energy is still there. May I suggest past life regression sometimes can help heal those kinds of issues. So you see, it's important to look at the whole aspect, and in fifth dimension there is no time, so it's all happened, it's all part of your soul's history, and it was all necessary to bring it into balance. So in looking at the different layers of things that you have needed to heal and to handle in loving ways with prayer, forgiveness, letting go of all the angers, all the fears and resentments, guilt, whatever negative emotions, anxiety, other things that come up, frustrations, even the 7 deadly sins, all need to